I, 27 female, have been engaged to Derek, 51 male, for 12 months, and I'm currently 3 months pregnant with our baby. Derek has 1 daughter from his first marriage and 3 from his second. Scarlett, 18 female, Kaylin, teen female, Raylan, teen female, and Madeline, young female teen. The divorces from his ex-wives were messy, so aside from the girls, Derek doesn't really talk to his ex-wives, which means they aren't really on the same page when it comes to parenting. Because of this, I feel like the girls are out of control. I recently moved in with Derek after 2 years of seeing each other, after finding out I was pregnant and needed help with simple tasks like getting my shoes on. There have been a few issues with this. One is that his daughters seem to hate me for loving their dad. Once, when I came home from work, Scarlett yelled at me because, according to her, it's gross to have a stepmom that's not even 10 years older than her. I tried to explain that love comes in all shapes and sizes, and age doesn't really matter. Apparently, after that, Scarlett confronted Derek about whether he'd be okay with her dating a 50-year-old guy, and he yelled at her. Scarlett called him a hypocrite and left for her mom's house. Since then, the other 3 have been acting up. Kaylin has been refusing to do her chores and thinks since I live with her dad that now she shouldn't have to empty the dishwasher or fold her own laundry. Raylan has been getting into trouble at school, causing fights with other girls in the grade above her and sneaking out of the house with boys. Madeline has been giving me attitude and says she doesn't want to get to know me because she already has a mom. I'm at the end of my patience with these girls and have told Derek that if he doesn't control his daughters, I won't marry him. Derek called me overdramatic and told me I was being too harsh on his daughters and that they'd come round eventually. I feel annoyed he isn't taking me seriously and I'm staying with my mom for now. So, am I the idiot? I say this as a stepmother myself. You are the idiot. The oldest is an adult. The next 2 are nearing it and the youngest is a teenager. They do not see dad's fiance as a parent, and you don't get to move in and dictate their schooling or behaviour. Rightfully so, his daughters are going to have issues with you due to many factors, and the guy you're marrying isn't doing anything to keep the peace. Also, the whole not marrying ultimatum probably would have made more sense before getting pregnant. At this point, it seems ridiculous. 4 children, 2 different mums, and a 5th on the way from a 3rd mum. Whew. I can't help but think this will end in tears. It's already a stressful situation and you've moved in before you wanted because you got pregnant. If you've done no groundwork with his children in the last 2 years, how do you expect to be a happy family? Why haven't you got to know them sooner? Was he single when you first met each other? I doubt it. Girl, you need to give that man a small break. He just had a messy divorce, your words. Stop pretending like her feelings aren't valid. You aren't their mom, and you have no say in how they feel about their father knocking up someone only 10 years older than them. If you don't have patience, kindness, and respect for them, you should bounce. And why do you need help with your shoes at 3 months? Seriously, get over yourself. I am judging you and Derek, so everyone's the idiot here. But damn, hon, how are you missing all the incredibly bright, shiny red flags on Derek? Starting with the fact that he's old enough to be your father, but you're worried about how he parents. Also, these kids are teenagers. This is just how it is, in my opinion. You may want to think about whether or not you want to sign up for that. Did it not occur to you that this much older man with 2 failed marriages who is unable to co-parent successfully or maintain a healthy relationship with his children is not prime husband material? Yeah, what a catch he is. Raylan, Kaylin and Madeline, jeez. Can I help name your new kid? Maybe Lin, Derek Lin, to honour the totally awesome man and father who has burned through 2 wives and is on his way through another. What a mess. I'm a single mother with 2 kids. I was divorced about 4 months ago and went from living in a 3,500 square foot house to a 2-bedroom apartment with my boyfriend. It's been such a hard adjustment that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, the whole thing, not just the apartment. My apartment is 1 building with 4 units, but they only put 3 parking spots right in the front door for whatever reason. This means it's next to impossible for me to get my kids out of the car and walk across the parking lot without being put in real danger if one of those spots isn't open. I tried talking to the management, and they said that assigned spots are more hassle than they're worth and said to talk directly to the neighbours. So I asked if the spot closest to the door could be reserved for me. Basically, all of them said no, in varying manners of rudeness, by the way. My kids are with their dad for his time since he has them 60% of the time, so I decided to try a game without them around since the conversation would be more adult to adult. Two of my neighbours didn't even respond, and the third said, "You get one of the spots in front often enough, why is this even an issue?" I said I needed them all the time as a single mother. He said, "You're a real piece of work for trying to play that card, the other two spots are maybe 20 feet further away." I said, "It's not the distance, it's that I have to have my kids walk across the parking lot." He said, "It's a life skill," and shut the door in my face. Am I the idiot for asking my neighbours to park in different spots so I can have access to the ones close to the building? Edit, with a tween and pre-tween, we always have a load of stuff, school stuff, groceries, video games, etc., and it would be so much easier to have one of the close spots. Wow, entitled much? You are the idiot. I once was a young, single and newly divorced mother adjusting to apartment life as well. That didn't make me special, and it doesn't make you special either. Pay attention to your kids and teach them safety, and all should be just fine. Why is being a single mother a factor for a car spot? Why do some people feel that parenthood somehow raises their social status in society and/or earns them special privileges? I'm sorry that you're going through a hard time, and I do hope it gets better for you. But unless there's some kind of mobility issues or disability at play here, you're not more or less deserving of the spot in comparison to everyone else. The man is right. Walking across a parking lot is a life skill. I had 1 ounce of sympathy when I assumed she had babies or toddlers. The kids are tween and pre-tween. I'm really confused about the danger you see here. Is it just walking across a parking lot? Why is that dangerous? Did you forget to include that you have to cross a busy highway or the parking lot is full of coyotes? Maybe the parking lot is made of lava. Oh, and she's a single mother who already has a boyfriend mere months after a divorce. Gee, I wonder which came first. OP, so you cheated and now you're reaping the consequences of destroying your family. You're a part-time mother that doesn't even have her kids the majority of the time. You are indeed a piece of work, and you didn't come here for advice, you came for backup. I, 25 male, have recently got married to Danny, 22 female. In my culture it's customary to get an arranged marriage, and Danny was introduced to me via a family friend. Her family is very well off, and Danny told me they agreed to cover the wedding. Danny wanted a wedding in our home country and they covered most of the expenses. I was alarmed by the costs of a foreign wedding, but Danny brushed me off saying that her parents would cover it. My brother-in-law, Danny's brother, tells me he's surprised I asked for my in-laws to cover the wedding afterward. I was confused by this, but he told me Danny's parents told their kids they would either buy them a house or pay for their wedding. I asked Danny about this and she got really defensive. She said she'd always wanted a big wedding from when she was little and thought that was way better than a house, which we could buy anyway, as she was convinced we could afford it. I have a high-paying job as a doctor, but I'm diabetic, healthcare isn't free, and have student debt. Danny earns less than me, but she got a job straight after graduation through family connections. I don't know how she thinks we can afford a house right now, and we'll probably have to rent for the next 3 or 4 years. A house would have really helped us save, and I'm very annoyed she hid this decision from me, but I don't know if this is something I should let go of. Technically, it was her parents' money, so she should decide where it goes. Well, not the idiot for being cross with her, but you have to let it go. As I assume the wedding already happened and have all been paid, she knows your standpoint, and if you keep bringing it up, it will only damage the marriage in the long run. Maybe try to find out if there are any other family agreements she didn't share with you yet. A house over a wedding? What kind of spoiled, crazy person would choose a wedding if given the option? Good luck, OP, you've got a princess on your hands. I'm wondering if everyone was honest about their income and expectations here. Why does she think you can afford a house if you say you can't? Who told her that? So her family is well off and they're marrying their daughters to someone who can't provide the same? I don't know who arranged this, but there seems to have been some miscommunication. You are the idiot. The parents didn't give you the choice. It was her choice. She wanted the party, her parents could provide. Why would it be up to you? It would be completely different if you guys were saving up and chose to spend the money on the house or a wedding. As a parent, if I provide this choice because I want to see my child happy, and whatever makes them happier, then I'm okay with it. If they wanted to set up their child, they wouldn't have given them a choice and given them a house and had them pay for their own wedding. I finalized my divorce last year. When things fell apart between us, she said she didn't want anything to do with my kids anymore, except for the one that's hers as well. But I didn't feel the same way about her son. I've always liked him. He was nearly an adult when everything became official with the divorce, and I told him to keep in touch with me and that I'd always be there for him. Last month was his high school graduation and he invited me and all my kids. My ex was angry that I was there, but we didn't sit near her. It was my custody week with our shared child, and I told him he could sit with his mom if he wanted to, and he did. Afterward, my youngest said his mom told him I was an idiot, which was really nice, I think. She ended up telling me over text how I ruined one of the most important days in her life for her. Well, the 4th of July is her custody week, and I asked if our kid could come over to my barbecue for a few hours. I also invited my former stepson. She said no immediately, even though I always make concessions for her, like having him go sit with his mom at his brother's graduation, which I never had to do. My stepson agreed to come. I guess they've been fighting in the build-up to today because she texted me a couple of hours ago saying our son was coming and her son was bringing him over and then back home. She also said I ruined this holiday for her, like I ruined her oldest's graduation. She said I'm a petty, hateful, resentful person who won't let her have any peace, and she hopes everyone sees my true colours one day. Am I really the idiot? I just want to retain a relationship with a kid I care about. It's not easy to be someone's de facto dad for some really formative years and then forget about them. I taught this kid to drive and brought him his first box of banana wrappers. How am I supposed to just drop him like a hot potato? But even my youngest thinks I'm being unfair to his mom. He said I needed to stop being mean to her. So maybe I really am the problem. Edit. The reason for our divorce? We were constantly fighting. I felt like I was failing my kids as a father by exposing them to animosity. I realized we weren't a team anymore but opponents in a battle. Our fights had taken over our lives. We couldn't get through a date without some argument resurfacing. We weren't having intimacy anymore. We were just roommates who bickered incessantly. Not the idiot. An invitation isn't a summons. He didn't have to come. You asked. They could have said no. As long as you're minimally respectful when you get a no, you're not being a terrible parent. There's someone who's petty, hateful and resentful in this story, but it sure isn't you. Congratulations on being the stepdad everyone wishes they had. You're doing great. His mom is the idiot. It's obvious you're an important person in his life, and she's letting her personal grudges and feelings get in the way of that. She needs to go to counselling to figure out her own resentment, because it's not healthy for her or the children. Children can easily be manipulated by those they care about. So much so that a loving father can be turned into an evil monster. If I'm not mistaken, the youngest is the shared child, who's probably getting manipulated or, at the very least, used as emotional support by their mom. This results in them thinking you're being mean to her. Yep, the youngest is definitely being subjected to parental alienation. Telling him you're an idiot is unfair to you and the child. Talk to your divorce lawyer and ask if it would be possible to sit down with a mediator to work out this issue before it becomes a major problem. Parenting means putting your petty BS aside for your kids and swallowing your ego. My dude, how are you even in doubt? You're an upstanding person. Most step-parents don't even attempt to have a relationship. Good luck. My partner, 28 male, and I, 26 female, come from very different backgrounds. He comes from a very close and, in my opinion, overprotective family. He was basically treated like fine china and not allowed to do anything. He couldn't swim or ride a bike until I showed him because his mother thought it was dangerous. I was raised by a laid-back family who encouraged me to try anything and do everything. We travelled a lot during my childhood, and in 2016 I went abroad to travel and work, coming home during the global issue. When we started dating, I explained that I was home due to the global issue and intended to set out to travel again when possible. My partner agreed and understood, but as we became more serious, he suggested we save money for a few years and then go together. We're currently on track with our savings goal and plan to leave next year. My partner is slowly figuring out that the way he was raised isn't normal and starting to discover himself. I'm incredibly proud of him. He's still in contact with his parents, but now we have our own home and they aren't as involved. They wanted us to move to the same town as them, but I swiftly put my foot down on that, as did he. We told his parents, and they are being incredibly neurotic. I understand that they're looking out for his safety. My mother has a rule that she must receive a text or phone call from me at least every 2 days. I'm in charge of organising most of the trip, booking flights and arranging accommodation, as I've been to most places we're planning to go. They criticise the airlines I choose. They bring up news stories from the places years ago, and they request he shares his location with them 24/7. I explain the outline of the countries we plan to visit, but nothing is certain as plans change and you enjoy some places more than others, etc. When we mentioned certain cities, they researched them and freaked out because they were dangerous. I've explained several times that those cities are ones I know very well, having spent months there and having friends living there also. They wouldn't relent about it. I finally cracked and told them to stop trying to micromanage and control him and not accepting he has his own life now. They were shocked and said nothing, just stared at me as I got my coat and went out to the car. My partner followed me and told me I needed to go and apologize. I said nope. They show no respect for him as an individual and none for me as a knowledgeable and experienced adult. He went back into the house and said goodbye. We drove home in silence. Now it's the next day and he won't speak to me. Am I the idiot here? Wow, some of you have never left your hometowns, have you? Not the idiot. While it's not great you lost your temper, it's understandable. The parents ignored and belittled your knowledge and experience and acted as if they knew better about scary foreign land and foreigners. You are right about the utter lack of respect they are showing to both of you. Everyone's the idiot here. Honey, you got a partner problem. He's still not ready to stop letting his parents run him. You can't tell them to stop. He has to do that himself. He's just letting you take over like his mom does. They don't care what you think, they care about him, and if boundaries are ever going to be enforced, he needs to grow a spine. But why, oh why are you sharing any information with them? They can't criticize what they don't know about. They can't research and try to scare your partner if they don't know where you're going. It's time to edit the information you give them. Also, his wanting you to apologize and giving you the silent treatment is a giant red flag. You need to decide if you want to be with a grown man who makes his own decisions or a little boy who needs his parents' permission.